All right, we are live on the tube. So welcome to anyone who is joining us on YouTube. Welcome to everyone on Zoom and everyone in the room. Let's take a moment. I actually didn't mute everybody. Now I'm going to do that. We do have a really nice group this evening. I wasn't sure who was going to turn out for services tonight, but it's a lovely group. So let's just take a moment. I'm not sure who all had to drive long distances this week or cook up a storm this week. I know that some people are still full, some people are still tired. I hope that there were opportunities for gratitude and fellowship. But now, as every week, we enter into Shabbat. So let's just take a moment to breathe, to feel a sense of peace, to make space for holiness. We're going to begin on page 126 in the bracketed numbers. I begin with a prayer of gratitude for all that is holy in my life. God needs no words, no English or Hebrew, no semantics, and no services, but I need them. Through prayer, I can sense my inner strength, my inner purpose, my inner joy, my capacity to love. As I reach upward in prayer, I sense these qualities in my Creator. To love God is to love each other, to work to make our lives better. To love God is to love the world God created and to work to perfect it. To love God is to love dreams of peace and joy that illumine all of us and to bring that vision to life. Does anybody have candles ready to go on Zoom who would like to lead the candle blessing, or would anyone like to do it who's here in the room? Anyone? Catherine? Nobody on Zoom is waving that I can see, so come on up, Catherine. We're going to have to do some microphone action. Good luck. Got to hold it right up against your mask.
Okay. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we by our lives give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light.
Okay. Would you like to proceed to the candles? Let me see if I can show them. Yeah. Yes, we're going to need to take the microphone to the candles. Can we see? Oh, we can. Yeah, pretty well. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Can you blow it out? I'm not sure you can.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. Thank you. Always a challenge trying to blow out candles with a mask on. Doesn't really work. All right, we turn now to the Kiddush. It's on page 123 in the bracketed numbers. Anybody on Zoom have an appropriate beverage and would like to do Kiddush? Anyone? Anyone?
I do.
Okay.
It's Bob.
All right, Bob, page 123. Go for it.
Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, creator of the fruit of the vine. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who finding favor with us, sanctified us with mitzvot. In love and favor, you made the holy Shabbat our heritage as a reminder of the work of creation. As first among our sacred days, it recalls the exodus from Egypt. You chose us and set us apart from the peoples. In love and favor, you have given us your holy Shabbat as an inheritance. Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat.
If you're able, I invite you to rise.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam barei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, b'shabbat kodsho b'havo v'ratzon inhilanu. Zikaron lemaseh bereshit, ki hu yom tichel el mikrah kodesh, zichel etziat Mitzrayim, ki vanu v'chata v'yotanu kiddashta mikol ha'amim. Shabbat kodshecha be'ahava v'ratzon hinachaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. Amen.
We turn now to page 138 in the bracketed numbers. You may be seated for Lecha Dodi, the poem that invites us to turn to one another and say, "Beloved, come with me. Let's go greet the Shabbat." And we imagine Shabbat as a bride bringing joy and beauty to our day.
Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. 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 Shalom v'zachor v'dibor echad, Yishmi'anu el hamiyochad, Adonai echad, U'shemo echad, Hashem u'tiferet v'lidila. Lecha Adoni lekrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Adoni lekrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat techu v'nelcha, ki himekor haberacha, mehirosh mikedem nesucha, sof ma'aseh b'machshava tehila. Lecha Adoni likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Adoni likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Hitorei, ki vaorekumi ori, uri, shir daberi, kevod Adonai alayich nigla. Lecha Adoni likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Adoni likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Boi v'shalom ateret bala, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי חלה, לך אדוני, לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך אדוני לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
I invite you to rise or remain standing for the Baruch Hu on page 146.
Baruch hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach. Le'olam va'ed. Le'olam va'ed.
On page 148, I invite you to read with me. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tsevaot is your name. Ever-living God, may you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening. Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim.
Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Amahavta, Torah mitzvot, Chukim mishpatim, Otanu limodeta, Al kein Adonai Eloheinu, B'shachbeinu v'komenu, Nasiach b'chukecha, ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו באורך ימינו, ובהם נגיע יומם ולילה.
Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. We continue with the Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Va'ed.
You may be seated.
Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם מאוד על ידך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם במזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתיכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני Elohechem.
Adonai Elohechem emet. Page 156, I invite you to read with me. All this we hold to be true and trustworthy for us. You alone are our God, and we are Israel, your people. You are our sovereign and Savior who delivers us from oppressors' hands and saves us from tyrants' fists. You work wonders without number, marvels beyond count. You give us life and steady our footsteps. You performed miracles for us before Pharaoh, signs and wonders in the land of the Egyptians. You led your people Israel out from their midst to freedom for all time. When your children witnessed your dominance, they praised your name in gratitude, and they accepted your sovereignty. Moses, Miriam, and all Israel sang to you together, lifting their voices joyously.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נוראתי לא תוסף אלה, נוראתי לא תוסף אלה. מלכותך ראו בונך, וכהיום נתנבושהו ברמזילי, אנו ואמרו, זילי אנו ואמרו, Adonai Melech B'olam Va'ed. Adonai Melech B'olam Va'ed.
ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל. Page 161 in the prayer book. Give us a place to rest, Adonai, our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai haporeh sukat shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת בדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
We have come to the tefillah, which begins on page 164. I invite you, if you're able, to rise.
Adonai, sefata tiftachu fi tehillatcha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohe avotenu v'emotenu, Elohe Avraham, Elohe Yitzchak, Elohe Yaakov, Elohe Sarah, Elohe Rivka, Elohe Rachel ואלוהי לאה, האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון גומר חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות באמהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר, משיח מגן. ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה, תגיבו לעולם אדוני, וחיי הכל אתה רב והושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, וחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומדומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיי, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני בחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
You may be seated. On page 173 in the prayer book, I invite you to read with me. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day, and may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. Page 175. You are with us in our prayer, our love, and our doubt, in our longing to feel your presence and do your will. You are the still, clear voice within us. Therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble, when pain clouds the mind, we look inward for the answer to our prayers. There may we find you, and there find courage, insight, and endurance. And let our worship bring us closer to one another, that all Israel and all who seek you may find new strength for your service. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otcha levadcha b'yir'ah na'avod. We've come now to Modim, our prayer of gratitude, and this Thanksgiving week is officially the time we're supposed to be grateful, but we know we are grateful every day, and we express our gratitude every week at services because we always can find, I hope, reasons to feel grateful. So if you're feeling grateful for anything in particular today, I invite you to put that in the chat, or you can say it out loud. So either way. So Susan Sisler says, I'm grateful to be able to be with my family for Thanksgiving. Charlotte says, friends and family. I'm going to pile on to that, that I also am grateful that we got to be with our family and friends for Thanksgiving yesterday. Adrian says she is so grateful for the 91 years that Stephen Sondheim gave us. If you did not hear, Stephen Sondheim has died at the age of 91, and indeed, he brought so much art into our world and into the lives of all of the musical theater nerds among us. Let's see, Janet Schlesinger is grateful that there's just enough snow in Maine to be pretty, but not dangerous. That's a good amount of snow. Patricia is grateful to be at home. Linda Kushner-Silverman is grateful that her hard work paid off. She is a size 8 and intends to remain that way. More power to you, Linda. Gail and Bob are grateful for friends and family and beautiful walks with friends. And Bob, that's Gail. That was mainly Gail. Eslin's cousin was discharged from the hospital on Thanksgiving Day due to non-COVID medical problems, but not in the hospital anymore. So that's something to be grateful for. Modim anachnu lach. Karen Kramer is grateful for just coming home from a nice dinner tonight with good friends. Folks in the room, anything you're feeling grateful for?
For each day I live, my God.
Wait, we're still having gratitude, Noni.
Oh, sorry. I thought I was muted and I was going to sing my gratitude. So I'll wait and sing that gratitude when you're done.
Oh, okay. So hold on just a second. Oh, no. Catherine says she's grateful that this year it was possible to have dinner with family because last year their son David was quarantining and they had to leave his meal outside his door. Was he quarantining because of exposure or exposure in White Plains? He is a frontline worker, so yeah. Mike? Grateful that nobody was having surgery this week. The backstory of that is that 3 years ago, I had gallbladder surgery and also came home from the hospital on Thanksgiving Day. And then 2 years ago, there was scheduled surgery that Mike scheduled for Shoshi to have her wisdom teeth out right before Thanksgiving. So we have a history with Thanksgiving. So nobody was having surgery in our family this year. So that was good. Anybody on Zoom want to unmute and add something that you're grateful for?
What are you going
Hello. Well, as always, grateful for my health and grateful that John is feeling better from recovering from his rib fracture, and grateful that I was another year we were able to make Thanksgiving dinner and have my family and all of us together.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great. All right. I see that Mona is unmuted.
Yeah.
Mona, do you have something to add?
Well, I'm grateful that I had a wonderful Thanksgiving with my nieces and nephews and 3 generations of nieces and nephews, and it was wonderful. And tomorrow I'll see my son and grandchildren. But I'm grateful that I was able to finally go to Broadway, see a show, and walk up all the subway steps. And I'm happy that things are starting to be a little more normal for me.
Yeah, Modim anachnu lach for that. Mary Lou is grateful to be with her Temple Eitz Rimon family and friends, great supportive neighbors, for beautiful surroundings of nature, walking, and clean air. Anybody else? Noni, did you want to sing your gratitude? You should unmute, though. Unmute.
Now you can hear me. The Broadway walking up the steps reminded me that I'm grateful that I went to a Broadway show this week and I hadn't been in so long, but my friend Michael, close friend who I sing with, is Aladdin on Broadway. So I got to see him be Aladdin and meet him afterwards. That was very beautiful.
Wow,
So
cool.
I recommend Aladdin with Michael as Aladdin. It was really pretty wonderful. And now, since it's Thanksgiving, I'll sing my grateful little grateful song.
For each day I live, my God, for each day I live, I am grateful, grateful, forever grateful, grateful for each day I live. For each day I live, my God, for each day I live, I am grateful, grateful, forever grateful, grateful each day I live. I am gifted by your glory, I am lifted by your love. I am grateful, grateful every day I live. I am grateful, grateful every day I live.
And Aaron's actually on that train coming in, so I'm grateful for that too.
Well, for all these things and more, we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hato shimcha ulecha na'el lehodot. We continue by praying for peace, as we always do.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki Aton Melech Adon Lechol HaShalom. Ki Aton Melech Adon Lechol HaShalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov b'necha levarech et amcha Yisrael b'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam.
Baruch atah Adonai hamivarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom. We have come now to our quiet prayer, our opportunity to spend a few moments communing with the divine in whatever that means to us. In the prayer book on pages 180 and 181, there are words. If you can see the screen, there are words on the screen. But of course, we can always use the words that are in our own hearts. We continue quietly.
May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, my rock and my redeemer.
We turn our thoughts now to those among us and those in our hearts who are ill and who are in need of healing of body, of mind, or of spirit. I'd like to invite you, if you're on Zoom, to add names in the chat of anyone for whom you are praying for healing. And of course, I'll give everyone an opportunity to add names out loud. We hold in our thoughts and in our hearts for healing this evening Jesse Sakharoff, Ira Weiss, Elaine Drucker, Allison Plummer, Rabbi Dara Lerner, Susan Sisler, Alan Fremer, Valerie Pace, George Landberg, Beverly Berkowitz, Susan Bilecki, Dana Haitkin Nelson, Arlene Rosenthal, Michael Luck, Istvan Koloshvari, Randall Rose, Barbara Weiner, Joan Lifshitz, Amy Juskowitz-Soonseller, Deanna Roth, Martha and Ed Vincent, Ingrid Grosso, Audrey Cohen, Eddie DeAngelis, Ira Goldman, Vicki Lightnaker, Sarah Brooks Kamen, Nettie Trommer, Mia Gannon, Jeff Abel, Patricia Christensen, Monica Beyer, Patty and Erwin Cohen, Fran Arnowitz, Debbie Litchman, Beth Dugan, Arlene Scher, Hannah Paines, Karen Wilco, Shelley Samet, David Gershon, Stanley Tenen, Ronnie Katlowitz, Linda Kushner-Silverman, Jordan Smith, Peggy Harvey, Sandra Pastor, Claire Florence Kramer, Penny Fisher, Ellen Greenfield, Irv Golden, Joellen Fox, Brian Abelman, Robert Freed, John Vanderhorn, Donna Clement, Florence Schoen, Cynthia Wilson, Hiroko Yajima Rhodes, Rachel Korazim, Della Cohen, Rita Soul, Lou Levinson, Elliot Drucker, Ted and Albert Galantner, Zita Novick, Rosa Gordon, Debbie Kosman, John Belay, Adele Milch, Miriam and Arthur Goldstein, Edie Buckner, Chris Hayden, Jennifer Middleton, Jerry Jaffe. David Bernstein, Lester Schenker, Lauren Mauser, Michael Moore, Dave Stanger, Baby Boy Raub Fogel, Marion Muntz, Jeff Horn, Kaki Akola, Janet Schlesinger, Jerry Jaffe, Rabbi Lerner, Kelly Quagliati, Noah Nesson, Karen and Angie Swass, Lance Grant, Joycelyn Elbers, Joy Ojan, Stephen Finkelstein, Jody Siegel-Stein, Saul Siegel, Sal Camiso, Lauren and Ian Silverman, Mark Dworkin, Janet Schlesinger, Jerry Jaffe, Elena Aram, Chanel Kamabach, Warren Feliz, Jimmy Jenkins, Joanna Marie, Karen Kramer, Jennifer Magoob, Silver Silva, and any of those who have been harmed or are suffering due to conditions in St. Vincent, Jamaica, Barbados, Guyana, Israel, India, Afghanistan, or Haiti. Rachel Jacobs, Sherry Jacobs, Seth Schrager, Tara and Jackson Kushner, Ron Cricky, Laura Cricky, Susan and Tony Vi, Jean and Larry Green, Zizi Potsdam, Estelle Altork, Eve Heyman, Brenda McBasey, Brenda Katroser, Rhonda Kramer, Nancy Kelly, Suzanne Mishler Hernandez, Elliot Woofsey, Baby James Scarpola, Paul Markowitz, Joan Lifshitz, Mary Lou McGivney, Karen Kramer, Teresa O'Sullivan. Does anyone else have names to add? Anyone on Zoom want to unmute and add names? Ruth?
Okay. Liz Yasida, Mark and Paul Steiner, Mimi Karp, Celia Karp, Richard Zagam, Sharon and Nicole Moskowitz, Marion Mandel. I noticed you had Ellen Greenfield on the list. If it's the same Ellen Greenfield, she's passed away. She's not had her burial yet. If this is the same one. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Deanna?
Kathy Resnick.
Judith
Thank
Weiss.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. We also include all of those who have been wounded in service to our country or Israel, all of those suffering from COVID-19, including a couple of members of our own congregation, and those who have been harmed in other disasters, whether natural or human created. Page 371 in the middle of the page is our Misha Berach.
Misha Berach Avotenu, Mekor HaBracha Le'imotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misheberahimotenu, ekor habracha lamutenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
There is no such thing as a perfect parent. I think I can feel pretty safe in saying that. And I think that those of us who are parents can think of lots of times when we have engaged in activities or patterns that were not what we would consider to be the best of ourselves. And very possibly, just about all of us can think of things that our own parents did or patterns that existed in our families that were not ideal. And when we have parents who make mistakes, as we all do, that influences us as we grow up. And so those of us who go on to have children of our own may find our parents coming out of our mouths. We may want to emulate certain things about their parenting. We may be absolutely determined not to emulate certain things about their parenting. And we may parent like them entirely unwittingly. When we look to our Torah, we see many examples of bad parenting. And this week's Torah portion, Vayeshev, is no exception. So we have Jacob, whose parents played favorites with him and his brother Esau, with consequences that were perhaps not ideal and resulting in a long estrangement, as sometimes can happen in families. And then Jacob grows up, gets married to 4 women, and has a passel of children of, they have a passel of children of their own, 12 sons. And what does Jacob do? He picks a favorite. So Joseph is his favorite son. Everybody knows it, and everybody resents it. And Joseph doesn't help matters. He doesn't help matters at all because he, in the words of Sam Silverman, one of our esteemed congregants, well, I won't use Sam's words. He's a brat. He's, at the age of 17, he's, bringing back malicious reports of what his brothers are doing in the fields with the herds. And they resent him completely and they can't stand him. So what do? They end up really violently tearing him out of the family. Initially, they're thinking of killing him, but his oldest brother, Reuben, is like, hold on, let's not go too far. Let's just throw him in a pit. So they throw him in a pit. There's no water in the pit. He's not going to last long in the pit. But along come some Ishmaelite traders. Reuben is thinking, I'll go back and save him later. Okay. But he doesn't get the chance because some traders come along. They might be Ishmaelites. They might be Midianites. The Torah says both. And Judah says, hey, let's haul him up and sell him into slavery. We might as well profit and we'll still be rid of the kid. So that's what they do. And they allow their father to believe that he has been eaten by wild animals, which is truly awful. That's truly, truly awful. And so off Joseph goes, and he winds up in Egypt. And he has adventures there, which I'll get to in a minute. This week also was Thanksgiving. In this country, it's one of those times when, if we are fortunate enough to have family and friends that we can get together with, we often do get together with them. It is part of our cultural lore that Thanksgiving tables can be absolutely fraught with, families who did not choose to be family and therefore sometimes have very different political opinions, very different cultural practices, even if they've all grown up together. And these things can come to a head at Thanksgiving because Thanksgiving is also freighted with we should be joyful together. We should be joyful together. And so if we're not, not only do we have to deal with like having a difficult time with the people that we're with, we also have to deal with feeling like we failed at being joyful at Thanksgiving or failed at being grateful or something. When I look at the story of Joseph, and when I look at the ideas that surround Thanksgiving in our culture, I think about how when we get caught up in family dramas, we lose the ability to be compassionate with each other. When we get caught up in family dramas, we lose the ability to put ourselves in the shoes of the other person because we live inside these patterns. We live inside these patterns of behavior that have been built by behavior and the roles that people end up taking on within families. Would Joseph even have been able to stop being that bratty kid if he stayed home? Or was that so much his role that he wouldn't be allowed to change? There was recently a Marvel TV series about the character Loki, who is the trickster brother god of Thor, who is always like double-crossing people all the time. And Loki is a super weird show where the premise is that there's somebody in charge of the timeline who pulls out people who don't belong. And ultimately, you start to think, is the timeline forcing Loki not to be able to change and not to be able to become a good person or a good god or whatever, a good superhero? And this is sometimes, I think, where we get trapped in families, where, you go out into the world and you grow up and you become, a certain kind of person, but then when you go back to your family, you end up in that same role you were in growing up. It's kind of like how, I didn't feel like I had a particularly good experience in high school. And I left and I matured and I like much better the person that I am now. But if I go to my hometown and run into someone from high school, I sort of feel like I shrink. Because I guess somehow I don't believe that they could have grown up too, even though they did. What we see with Joseph when he gets removed from his family is that he has an opportunity to grow up. And he does. And he goes from this boy, this teenager, who maybe obliviously told his family about dreams that they were all bowing down to him, which they did not like one single bit. He did not do a good job there. To interpreting dreams for fellow prisoners once he landed in jail and saying, this comes from God. And being able to recognize that it's not about him. He actually grows up. And in subsequent Torah portions, when he is reunited with his family, we're going to find out, how it is for him to be back in that milieu where perhaps it'll try to push him back into the role he was in before. Now, I hope that for most of us, getting together with family is a wonderful and joyous time. And for those of us for whom it is, we are very fortunate. And others of us have chosen family that we're happy to be with and who align with us in all kinds of ways, and that is also just wonderful. But if we are in a situation where, there are old patterns that don't feel good, I would just invite us to try to take a step back and think about, what's behind those patterns and what can we do to perhaps shift off of those old rails and perhaps go in a new direction. Maybe subvert the same argument that happens every time, or whatever it might be. So may we do better than our ancestors. May we do better than Jacob and better than Joseph's brothers. Don't kill your family members. Don't sell them into slavery. It's not a very high bar. I think we can all do it. And may we be able to enjoy Hanukkah, which is coming up very fast. May we be able to enjoy whatever time we get to have with family, with friends, with chosen family. Amen and Shabbat Shalom.
Nothing's gonna harm you, not while I'm around. Nothing's gonna harm you, no sir, not while I'm around. Demons are prowling everywhere nowadays. I'll send them howling, I don't care, I've got ways. No one's gonna hurt you, no one's gonna dare. No one can desert you, not to worry, whistle, I'll be there. Demons will charm you with a smile for a while, but in time, nothing can harm you, not while I'm around. Being close and being clever ain't like being true. I don't need to, I would never hide a thing from you like so. No one's gonna hurt you, no one's gonna dare. Others can desert you, not to worry, whistle, I'll be there. Demons will charm you with a smile for a while, but in the time, nothing can harm you, not while I'm around.
Thank you, Noni, for that lovely tribute to Stephen Sondheim and such a sweet song of love and caring from Sweeney Todd, and a musical with another spectacularly dysfunctional family. So, what did you say? World-class dysfunctional family. We're going to turn to the Aleinu now, beginning on page 586 at the top of the page. I invite you, if you're able, to rise.
עלינו לשבח להודות הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסר ארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינת זו בגופי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אחד, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
You may be seated. We turn our thoughts now to those who are no longer with us, our loved ones who have died in the past days or weeks or months, or in past years at this time of the year. I'm trying to get the yard site list up onto the screen, and I just need a moment. Whoops. So our yard site list is on the screen. I know it's very small. Those of you who are on Zoom, I invite you to add the names in the chat of anyone for whom you are saying the mourner's Kaddish this evening, as we remember those who have died in the past year. As far as I know, Stephen Sondheim has not yet been buried, but I'll mention his name anyway. Moshe Usher Reinitz, Huma Saber, Lila Bloomfield, John Carfisi, Andy Glantzman, Todd Zeitlin, John Previtt Jr., Augie Dorio, Janet Esposito, Kay Josephs, Arnold Block, Elizabeth Clark, Kyle McGee Sr., Ida Houston, Louisa Espute, Perry De La Touche, Ira Roth, Roberta Hayrath, George Liss, the Reverend Claude Park Street, Sylvia Tishkovich, Ellen Belofsky, Cindy Retagliata, Dolores Weinberger, Suzanne Leknos, Shirley Kafker, Lillian Frost Ridgely, Thomas Marinen, Meg Goldate, Marguerite Romeo, John Young, Isadora Frost, Fred Perlman, Claire Kramer, Bob Ira Kleinberg, Dorothea Schuring, Peter Brandenberger, Lloyd Ricketts, Ellie Heimlich, Sherry Burns, Terry Singer, Henry Kuhn, Lily Zimmett, Bob Perlman, Ira Berkowitz, Bayumi Mohammed, Amy Zisovic, Mary Holland, Dorothy Webster, Robert Allen Santos Sr., Robert Bonenfant, Barry Strumpf, Judy Epstein, Dorothy Mason, Judy Panzer, Barry Ween, Charlotte Brown, and it's the first yard site of David Schachter. On our yard site list today are included Harry Goldberg, Hannah Roth Seavey's stepfather, Larry Greenberg, Fran Arnowitz's brother, Francis Herman, Yvette Pomerantz's aunt, Isaac Yip Schweiger, Ron Schweiger's father, Eleanor Steinberg, Maddie Kay's mother, Samuel Amrani, Shirley Amrani's brother, and Lily Levy, Michael Rose's grandmother. Roseanne Levitt is saying that there's a correction. The yard site for her mother, Ethel Goldie Levitt, is on Kislev 28, December 2nd, corresponding with the middle of Hanukkah. Is she on? Well, so our yard site list is for the coming week, and so that would be the yard site of your mother, Roseanne, will be during this coming week. That's why she's on the list. So I think it's correct. Linda Kushner Silverman is remembering her father, Joseph Levy, and her aunt, Rose Garbowitz. Anyone in the room have names to add? Anyone on Zoom want to unmute and add other names? Eric?
Yeah, Ethel Levitt was also the secretary for many rabbis at Temple Habat Shalom, starting with Rabbi Steinbach. So just wanted to mention that.
And
Yeah, thank you.
beloved by the congregation. She was a very
Absolutely.
special person.
Thank you. Diane Schenker?
Les Schenker's sister, Gladys Smerling. Good lady, very good, kind lady. Died too soon. Thank you.
Lori Silverman?
My father-in-law, Melvin Silverman.
Ruth?
Actually, it's my dad's, Benjamin Steiner's Hebrew yard site starts this evening. Otherwise, it's December 7th.
Thank you. Roseanne, did you want to say something? No?
Well, just, it's, I'm reminded of my mother, as you said in your sermon, we're so connected with those who came before us. And I try to emulate her kindnesses. And so in that sense, her memory is definitely very, very alive. We had thought when she lived, even though she was in the hospital, we had thought since she lived to be alive for Hanukkah, that was a good sign. But it turned out she was she was wanted elsewhere. And anyway, we appreciated her life, and she left many, many legacies.
Thank you, Roseanne. When we have a parent who we want to emulate, that's really a blessing. Patty?
Yes, Erwin's cousin is usually on the list. His name is Moshe Usher Renitz, and he's usually there. He just died a few weeks ago. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, if that's everyone, we also include all of those who have died, so many people who have died from COVID-19. We include also all of those who have died from other causes, whether in war or famine or terror or disaster, or alone and homeless on the streets of our cities. The Mourner's Kaddish is on page 598. I invite you, if you're able, to rise and join in or to participate according to your own custom. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, b'agala u'v'zman kariv v'yamru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach leolam ulalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. v'yit hadar, v'yit aleh, v'yit halal, shemei dekudasha barichu. La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damir ran balma v'imru, amen. Yehe shlama rabba min shamaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Ose shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to the bereaved wherever they may be. And let us say, amen. You may be seated.
Ose shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru. Amen.
I'd like to call upon our president, Adrian Knoll, to give us announcements.
Shabbat Shalom. Tomorrow, there's no B'yachad or religious school, but we are having multi-access services at 11:45. Then Sunday.
Actually, we are having B'yachad.
Oh, we are?
Yeah.
Oh, and then never mind. We are having B'yachad.
We are having B'yachad on Zoom and multi-access services at 11:45.
Okay. On Sunday, is the Hanukkah caroling still going on? Do you know?
As far as I know.
Yes. Okay, I hear yes. That's taking place from 11, I think, until about 1. A group of carolers from Temple will be first singing in front of the temple and then going to a few locations on Cortelyou Road and singing some holiday tunes. And then that night, as we know, Hanukkah begins. And we will be lighting candles and saying the blessings on Zoom every night at 7, except for Friday when we'll be doing them at services. And the link has been sent out, so look for the link. Monday, 5 o'clock at the Carmine Caro Center on Fillmore Avenue, right off Stewart Street. Rabbi Heidi is going to be lighting the menorah there, and we're going to have people singing holiday tunes. We're doing this in conjunction with the Marine Park Alliance. Should be a great event. I hear Joe Mart Chocolate is also giving out some chocolate, so that might be worth, visiting there for too. Tuesday, there's no Torah study, but Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. Get up early. It's Giving Tuesday on Facebook. So if you go to the Beshert website, beshert.org, you will see the link there, I believe, for taking part in Giving Tuesday. Otherwise, check our Facebook page for the link. And Wednesday, 7:15, semi-annual congregational meeting. Please, please, please sign on. We need a quorum, and we have to vote on some important matters. And we'll do those near the beginning of the meeting. So if you need to leave, you'll be able to leave, but please do sign on. Doing an absentee ballot does not count toward the quorum. So it's extremely important that you sign on if at all possible. Thursday, choir rehearsal with Cantor Noni in preparation for our Hanukkah service the next day. So please come Thursday, 7 o'clock. This is the last rehearsal, so make it good. Masks required, as always. Friday is our special Hanukkah/new member service. And this should be great. We should I'm hoping that we have a nice crowd in the sanctuary, our COVID-safe sanctuary. People can space out all they want from each other. Masks required. I encourage everyone to come. It should be festive and lovely, and I assume we'll be lighting menorahs, Rabbi Heidi? Are we going to be inviting everyone to bring their
Yes,
menorahs?
bring your menorahs and the appropriate number of candles, which I'm not sure what it is.
Well, count.
We'll double check and we'll send an email.
And I think that's about it. Shabbat Shalom all. Have an early happy Hanukkah.
All right, thank you. Shabbat Shalom. We are going to close with Adon Olam. Oh, by the way, Gail put in the chat that chair yoga on Monday will start at 3 p.m. So anybody who is interested in that. We are going to close with Adon Olam. It is on page 625 in the prayer book. I invite you, if you're able, to rise.
Adon Olam Hashem Allah, B'terem kol yitzin nivra, V'yitnasa v'chetzo kol azay melech shemo nikra, V'yacharei kiklot hakol levado yimnok nora, V'hu haya v'hu hove, V'hu yeh b'tivara. Vehu echad ve'en sheni lahamshilo lahakbira beli reshit beli taklit belo ha'oz ve'ha'misra vehu eli ve'chai go'ali v'tzochev li beitzara vehu nisi u'manos li minat kosi biyom ekra biyado afkid rochi biyedishan biyahira bimruchi geviati Adonai li velo ira.
Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha. Shalom. May God bless you and keep you. May God's face shine on you and be gracious to you. May God lift God's face towards you and give you peace. Amen. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat